It was a bright sunny day when I first arrived in the city. The air was filled with the sounds of bustling life, and the streets were alive with energy. Everything felt so big and unfamiliar. The towering buildings seemed to touch the sky, and the streets were a maze of new experiences waiting to be discovered. I was nervous and excited all at the same time. My heart raced with the thrill of new beginnings, yet there was a knot of anxiety in my stomach. The PG accommodation was nice, but I missed home. I knew nobody. The room was cozy, yet it felt empty without the familiar faces and comforts of home. It was a lonely feeling. I spent hours staring out of the window, watching the city move around me, feeling like an outsider. I remember calling my mother that evening, my voice filled with longing. I poured out my heart, sharing my fears and uncertainties. She told me, "Don't worry, Beta. Be kind, be helpful, and you'll find your way." Her words were a balm to my anxious heart. Her words stayed with me. They became my guiding light as I navigated the challenges of this new city, slowly turning it into my new home.
The biggest challenge was the language. Moving to a new place where everyone spoke differently was daunting. I had studied the basics, but real-life conversations were a whole different story. I understood a little, but speaking was difficult. Every time I tried to form a sentence, I hesitated, afraid of making mistakes. Practicing in front of the mirror helped, but it wasn't enough. My roommates were from different parts of the country. Each one brought their own unique dialect and accent, making our conversations a blend of various languages and cultures. We couldn't understand each other's languages well. Often, our conversations were filled with puzzled expressions and lots of gesturing. It was frustrating at times, but also quite amusing. But you know what? Laughter became our language. Despite the confusion, we found humor in our mistakes and misunderstandings. It was laughter that bridged the gap between us. We would try to communicate, using gestures and expressions. Our hands and faces did most of the talking, and it was surprisingly effective. We learned to read each other's body language. The more we laughed, the closer we felt. Laughter became a universal language that brought us together. It broke down barriers and created a sense of camaraderie. Slowly, we began to understand each other, not just the words, but also the emotions behind them. Our bond grew stronger, and we realized that communication is more than just language. It's about connection and understanding. One day, one of my roommates was feeling sick. She had a fever and looked really pale. It was clear she needed some comfort and care. I made her some hot soup and stayed with her. We chatted about our favorite movies and shared some laughs, trying to lift her spirits. It wasn't much, but it meant the world to her. She smiled and thanked me, saying it made her feel so much better. Small acts of kindness became our way of connecting. We realized that these little gestures brought us closer together. We started sharing food, stories, and dreams. Every meal became an opportunity to bond and learn more about each other. We helped each other with studies, chores, and even heartbreaks. Whenever someone was down, the rest of us would rally around to offer support. The PG wasn't just a place to stay anymore. It transformed into a sanctuary where we felt safe and loved. It was becoming our home away from home. We created memories that would last a lifetime, all because of the simple acts of kindness we shared. Time flew by, and soon it was time to move on. Leaving the PG and my friends was hard. We had shared so much laughter, tears, and memories. Looking back, I realized that sometimes the most unexpected places can become a source of comfort and belonging. All it takes is an open heart, a willingness to connect, and a little bit of kindness.